So you're sitting minding your own business and you get an email saying that you're gonna get written up for something that you did not do, something you do not agree with, something that has nothing to do with you. Your temper goes up and you're about to shoot this email right back at the individual. Better yet, you know where he's at. I'm gonna go see him in person. I'm gonna catch you outside. How about that? But you know that that individual is currently in a meeting. Do you go in? Do you approach it now? Or do you wait? How do you handle this? Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Solutions Podcast. As always, your host, Dr. Ramsey. So, on this episode, we're going to talk about how to pick your battles wisely. I always tell people a smart person knows what to say, but a wise man knows when to say it. Picking your battles wisely is not something new, it's not some crazy thing that I came up with. To be honest, most of y'all understand that I am a Robert Greene fanatic. Nah, I wouldn't say fanatic, but I'm definitely a big fan of his work. I literally just was able to make it to my goal of actually owning all of the individual's books. A email came across me back in the what's it called, the Black Friday time frame, and it was like a code for Audible. And that for $20 you get a 6 month. I don't know if it's considered a subscription, but a 6 month where you get a token to get a book, if it's worth a token or if it's worth more or less, I don't know. But to get a book every 6 months for the next 6 months. So I gave the $20. It was a Black Friday deal. And with that, it helped me to get every single one of his books on Audible, which is awesome. So I finally made a good goal. Or made a, I don't know, I would say I would definitely call it an investment, because it's able to help me get through this thing that we call life. And I was able to get all of the individual's books. Robert Greene's books, please go check them out if you have an opportunity. This specifically is part of the 33 Strategies of War. This section is about picking your battles wisely, right? So when analyzing a situation, the first thing you got to do is figure it out and prioritize. Does this actually go aligned with my goals? Is this going to matter at the larger picture? Does it hold significant value, or is this a distraction? Understand, most of the time when people are trying to get on your nerves, it comes from a place of hate and jealousy, and something that they just cannot reach, or something that they see that you have the ability to do and they cannot. And most of the time they'll throw these jabs and put you in a position where if you lose your temperament and you attack it now, you're going to end up looking like the bad person, especially in public. So if we go back to the scenario that I gave, right? You know this individual's in a meeting, but you are pissed. And you know that you're full of emotions right now. And you know, once you type and it gets shot out, that's permanent. That's for real. That's there. You cannot take it back. I know there's a way that you could recall emails, but most of the time that does not work. So then you think about it. Does this align with my ultimate goals? Or is this going to hold a greater value if I attack it now? Or if I take a step back and figure out how to attack it later? The next thing that we want to look at is, how can this be advantageous to us? We have to analyze the situation and analyze the weaknesses of it. How can we use this to show their true intentions? So we have to find the right time to strike around the right people, and also we have to find a way to discredit their credibility based on the action that they took against you. That is a masterful way to handle these people. We have to look, okay, let's see, where can we dissect this, or how can we dissect this in bit by bit by bit by bit? Now, I'm not sure how much of the news y'all watch or how much of the politicians you watch, but this is something that a politician does masterfully. When they ask them a question, notice they never really answer it. They'll touch a little bit and circle it to another point. Whether it's annoying, it's fucking annoying. It is also genius. The thing is, now you got to be on the opposite end of that, which is you got to look at the weaknesses of the individual that's trying to attack you. This is just strategic in the workforce. Okay, how can I show that this person has malice? What do I have? How can I analyze this in a way that it shows the world, or it shows the right people, that this individual is coming out of malice, out of a negative intent? We explore the weaknesses on either the statement that they sent you, the write-up that they sent you. We look at it and ask ourselves, did this really happen? We already established at the beginning of the scenario that no, you're being written up for something that there has nothing to do with you, or that is false. So you analyze it and you on paper prove that this is a wrong thing, and you clap back with that. And that's a way to how can I say it? That's one thing that you want to do, is you wanna attack the weaknesses of it, not the strengths of it, the weaknesses. They might come back and rewrite it and so on and so forth, so on and so forth. But some people don't even have the mental bandwidth to do that. So you look at it and you attack, okay, where are they wrong at? And something, again, this is specifically meant to if you're in the right. I would never encourage you to be in the wrong and not own it, and not take accountability. This is when you're in the right. But sometimes we got to understand that there's people above us. So how do we deal with them when they're in the wrong? We make sure that we leave no room for error when it comes to our attacks on their weaknesses. Next thing we want to do is always, and this is for always, for every single conflict, even in or outside of the workforce, just in life, even like in a relationship, you want to do a cost-benefit analysis. Does you understand that each conflict, each disagreement that you have is going to come at a cost? Think about relationship for a second. I know there's times that you could think back and say, I just lied to my spouse because I did not think this was worth it. Meaning they're saying something that's out of pocket, but it's not enough that is worth the argument. And there's plenty of those situations. It's the same thing. Every battle does come at a cost. So we got to evaluate what we will gain and what we will lose if we engage ourselves in this situation. Will the win be worth the time and energy and your reputation that you might be putting on the line? Yes or no? And that's why we got to look at the gravity of things, or the severity of things. If this write-up does nothing, but your reaction will do more, let it fly. But if this write-up can potentially lead to a bad evaluation, or it could lead to a tarnish on your reputation, on your background, or on your character, then yeah, 1000% attack it. But if it's just something like that's not gonna even hurt or do anything, but you know that person has a lot of pull in the organization, hey, let's just hold off for a little bit. Let it fly, But that's where we got to do our cost-benefit analysis. If I engage this, if I start this, how much is this going to help or hurt? Only you know that. But that's why we talk about doing it wisely. And that's why we're going through these steps. Okay, if I attack now, are they at their strongest or their weakest? And we're talking about more than just physically. We're talking about when it comes to their position, is is or has their character been questioned in the recent, or did this individual just do something great and now they're in a position where they have a little bit more power and right now they're on the upwards more momentum, and it's probably not the time to get steamrolled. Which this leads on to my next point, which is understanding when to fold. Persistence, that's admirable, but stubbornness is annoying. So recognize when the battle has been lost or when it's unwinnable. Don't be afraid to say, "Oh man, like I just lost." Don't let your ego win. Do not ever let your ego win. You always got to think rationally. Sometimes the way to win a battle is by abandoning it. Sometimes that's it. Yeah, I'll give a very simple example. You could be in a heated argument and it's about to turn physical. And you know you never trained a day in your life, not even got into a fight in your life. And this person looks like they hold a UFC belt. You're more than likely going to get your ass kicked. Is it worth it? Or can you walk away? Same concept. If somebody holds so much power and you're just starting off, you might want to hold up. If they have all the cards and you only have one and you're still trying to get more, you're still trying to get more stock in the company, you're still trying to get your position to be noticed, then I would hold off. Sometimes we got to know, hey, you know what? I'm not going to win this one. Roger, I appreciate you for playing. And that is it. But we have to understand when it's time to fold. Lastly, do not lose sight of the long-term perspective. The great man J. Cole, I bring him up a lot because I use a lot of his one-liners for reference, but he said, you got to play the game to change the game. If you're not in the position to change the game, you have to play the game. You have to play the game in order to get to the position where you can change it. That's been an ongoing battle that I have been in my entire career. I always knew things were not right. I always knew things could be better. I always knew that I could bring a lot to the table, but I had to put myself in that position. And I knew that if I just came in trying to change the world, trying to save the world that wasn't looking for saving at the time, it was going to eat me whole. So patiently, I have continuously put myself in positions where I slowly can make a change and influence here. I can make a change and influence that, and so on and so forth, till I get to where there is no denying where I go is going to be best if I'm in it. If it's going to be best if I'm part of the decision-making process. Why? Because I positioned myself that way. It took years. It took years and a lot of lessons and a lot of losses. A lot of losses and a lot of fights and a lot of disagreements. It took a lot to get here, but this is why I made this podcast, is because through those experiences, I learned so much that I want to make sure that I'm able to share with the world so they don't have to go through the pain that I went through. It's kind of like when having kids, right? You want them to have a better life than yours. Well, me personally, I want to give my experience because I literally came from shit, from nothing. And even where I'm at today, I still feel like it's nothing. But to most people, they would dream to be where I'm at. And that's what's crazy. We always forget that people will dream to be where you're at while you're not being grateful for where you are. Now, I'm grateful for where I'm at, but I know I still got mountains to climb. I've climbed hills. Now I got to climb mountains. Sorry. ESL, English is the second language. I do apologize, but with the one thing that I do want to get out of this is understanding when to pick a battle, and if you're in a position to win, and if that win is going to be a win or is going to be a potential loss and a setback and a step back. That's the whole point of this episode, is to help y'all understand that a win is not always a win, and a loss is not always a loss. And I know it sounds very, how can I say, very like politician-ish, where we're really not saying anything but saying everything at the same time. And that's what it is. That's what it is. The world is a complex place. It's not a white and black. There's a lot of gray, and the gray area is the one that we have to know how to navigate, which goes to my other episode of the 10 Guides to Success. So you guys if you have the opportunity, please go back and check that one out. And of course, as time goes and we get more interviews and stuff like that, we will get those into what's called we're gonna get those into practice by the conversations. And y'all see pretty soon, right? Again, I'm still overseas, so my resources are limited, but I'm gonna do my best to try to get some people in and just to have a conversation and see how in the middle of a conversation, I throw a lot of the stuff that I give in these solo episodes to help them, help you, help us. Again, this is it for me, Dr. Ramsey. Please like, follow, share, subscribe to everything that you can. Listen, supporting me is free. So don't be cheap. Have a good one, everybody, and catch you on the next episode.